Hi, fire signs. How are you? We have almost made it to another month. In some ways, it feels like it's been not that long since I recorded the last videos. Of course, I did. I was behind, so maybe that's why. But in some ways, it feels like this month has also been a decade. Not quite as bad as March, but it's been its own weird little anomaly. So I am here to do, what I'm anticipating, at least my intention is for this to not be the traditional kind of energy forecast that I'm doing by element. Certainly, if there are strong messages that need to come out, then that's the route that this is going to take. But my intention is to look kind of into some patterns, stuck emotions, just things that cycles that you keep repeating. As a collective, as a human collective, it's something that we're all going through. So I would encourage you maybe to, regardless of your element, you may want to check out all of the other the videos, especially if the titles resonate with you. Also, again, keep in mind that your moon, rising, and other aspects of your natal chart could be, pivotal for you. If fire doesn't resonate, for example, earth might. And that information can be found down below for free if you want to check that out. There's a link to a website where you can get all that information. Now, we are just, I can't remember if it was yesterday or today, entering Pluto retrograde. This is the first retrograde planet that we've had in several weeks. It feels like years. We used to think Mercury retrograde was the bad one, right? This one is shaping up to, really force us to dive into our shadow selves and to heal some of these cycles and karmic patterns that keep presenting themselves. I know in my case, I keep getting kind of the same thing happening, but each time, the lesson presents itself in a manner where I'm like, surely this isn't another test because I've done the work, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm ready for this. And boom, sure enough, it's another test because I didn't do the things I needed to do to end that pattern and to reset, my own karmic balance. I guess I don't know where that just came from, but that's what we're going to look at. This is obviously, it's a current energy update is what we're going to do. We're going to use the, I think it's the Light Seer Tarot. It's a little bit of a darker deck, not terribly dark, but there are some darker images in here. And then over on the extended, we're going to dive deeper into the issues that come out. We're going to use the Mermaid Tarot for that one. And we're going to pull, some healing cards, some shadow cards. Also, my intention is to leave you with a message of sacred power so that we end on a light note. I haven't used those cards in a while, and I'm feeling really called to do that. They're absolutely beautiful cards. We may get into past life stuff. We'll see. We'll see what comes out. The extended reading, that link is for Vimeo is down below, $7.77. If this is resonating for you here on YouTube, I encourage you to check that out because it's very, very, very cheap rate if I'm tapping into your energy versus getting a reading. For me, those readings over on Vimeo usually last about 20, 22 minutes, something like that. And before I forget, I wanted to mention that I was really drawn to these crystals today. And of course, sure enough, I look it up and they are the ones that are known predominantly for shadow work. So we've got this gorgeous labradorite. The lighting in here is not the best, and my tablet keeps going in and out, but this is just a beautiful stone. It's very smooth, and it just feels really good. I feel like it's something, they have smaller palm stones that you can order. Shungite, the Shungite Pyramid wanted to be here. I haven't had it out in a while, and it's been calling at me. I think I know why now, but it, I was reading, helps you release stuck emotions and patterns, stuck emotional patterns. So that's something that I think we could all benefit from. And of course, just raw obsidian. I'm pretty sure I got this in Utah, and it's just absolutely a gorgeous piece. So obsidian is a fairly cheap crystal that you can obtain too. It's great for shadow work. All of these are. So without further ado, we're going to see what comes out for fire signs. Please use me as a clear channel. What for the fire sign collective? Karmic patterns, cycles, emotional things. What do you want fire signs to know to do during this Pluto retrograde? All right. Yeah. shungite out of the way here. Wow. Oh, this is crazy. I wonder I'm on fire and my third eye was killing me. Oh my goodness. Woo! Yeah. So what I'm picking up on here, we have a lot of major arcana. That's why I'm just blown away. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major arcana, and then some other very powerful cards here. What I'm getting is that you're stuck in this. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, I asked about, karmic cycles, but it's like you start over. You've got this fantasy about having it all, right? And I'm picking up, more romantic. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but we've got predominantly cups cards here. And the Ace of Pentacles for me, it certainly can be a, I guess the tens are really culminations, but for me, an ace, it's like, boom, it's like, a high card, even though it's starting over. But for me, getting the Ace of Pentacles, it's like, boom, everything you've got, your seeds have been planted, it's grown and it's there. It's starting fresh. And so you're wanting that. You're knowing that the work that you've been putting in the work, right? You've been planting your seeds, putting in the work for so long, and walking away from things that no longer serve, right? And you're doing that. And I think the issue is discerning fantasy from the reality of the situation, because when you've been doing this amount of work for so long and you've been on this path for so long, and you get a new beginning presented to you, okay, and again, if we're talking about a romantic situation, which is what I'm picking up on mostly, you get, you're like ready to take that leap. You're ready to take that leap, and you're ready to the Fool. You're like, yeah, I'm kind of holding on to the past a little, but I'm ready to move on. 8 of Cups. I'm ready to move on from somebody that burned me, somebody that hurt me. And I think the problem is you're so anxious to move on from that situation that you maybe over fantasize or don't see the reality of a situation as the fact that it could be another test. You're very quick to jump in. The Fool could be, the darker side of the Fool, if we're talking about shadows, could be foolish, literally acting like a fool, like not doing your due diligence, just taking that leap of faith without a solid foundation, with just, something that's an illusion, something that's not real. And it's ironic because the 7 of Cups, that's the card of, it's like, it's interesting too in this particular deck. It's about illusion, it's about dreams, fantasy, and for me, it's just not a solid card, because what comes after the 8 of Cups comes after the 7, and it's you're moving on from it because it wasn't real. At least that's my take on it right now here in this moment in this spread. You can see that underneath, as he's like trying to choose which path to take, there's a serpent in the sand hiding underneath. And you just, I'm getting that you just keep, it's like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I am gonna just, this new beginning comes, I move on from this other one, and justice is for me, judgment is more of a karma card, but for me, justice can be as well. And because you see, like, the shadow, it's interesting too that this deck, this image, it's like her darker shadow side is looking up at her. It's about balancing that. And I think, you're presented with all these, it's almost like these are the tests, what's under the cup. And you're just so eager for that new beginning, for that Ace of Pentacles, that outcome, right? That when this cup is presented to you, you don't really look underneath the surface and see what's under there hiding. And it's not balanced. So I'm getting that maybe there's not balance in your energy. That could be, again, the shadow side of the Fool, where you are just willing to dive and take that leap despite, despite being burned and maybe not really fully healing from that prior situation. What I'm getting is, clearly, and too, if you're watching this video and it's resonating, you're wanting this cycle to end. You're wanting it to end. The wheel, that's the what's desired. You're wanting it to end because what keeps happening is you're like, boom, okay, I'm moving on from this. Not really necessarily, you think you're healed, you think you're doing the work. You jump off the cliff too soon because, I think the wound or the inner issue is you want so desperately to have this Ace of Pentacles. You want your seed, your crop to be ready because you've been working on it so long, so hard. And so you get another cup that comes to you. Here's another cup. And it's like, it looks totally different. You can see they look different. I mean, they're different colors. One has a wing. One has different texture. They are different. They appear different. But when you don't look under the surface and you act too quickly and too rashly, you don't realize that the same serpent hides underneath. And so you act like a fool. And again, I'm not calling anyone out because this is resonating with me very, very much. I'm a fire sign. So, again, when I say you, I mean us, all of us. So, it's out of balance, right? Because you're so, part of it is that you're an empath and you're trustful and you trust what's presented to you, especially, each one that keeps getting, like each cup that gets shinier. And it's like, oh my gosh, this can't be another test. And some of it is ego. Like, I've done all this work. I know that I deserve this. But, if you jump into something too quickly, like a fool, and you're not in balance energetically, the wheel is going to turn and it's going to keep bringing you a tower. It's going to keep bringing you a tower over and over and over. And, it's in my mind, I mean, this deck, it's actually a very beautiful card. It's not like the traditional one where like people are jumping out of a burning building. I mean, that one's kind of horrific. This is nature. This is lightning. This is a cycle. This is a pattern. But it's also a wake-up call. And that's what Pluto retrograde is here to do. And, I've been very shocked just in my own life how the same lesson has presented itself to me in a way that I never dreamed, right? And I just, it was absolutely stunning. But, looking back, my behavior was definitely out of balance. I was too quick, to not look for the serpent underneath. Very much just wanted to move on, get to my Ace of Pentacles without doing, my own, enough sufficient work on myself. And then also due diligence on the other person, or just taking time, really. It's not necessarily blaming the other person or saying that they're a bad person, that they're a serpent, but you don't really know that someone is your right person so fast in the beginning. They might say all the right words, energetically you might have this amazing connection, but it takes time to find out if it's an illusion or not, okay? So you keep getting that tower. And what keeps happening is, somebody comes forward, they come up with an offer of love, and this is a really creepy image because I don't know why there's a guy sitting here and there's a guy that looks like he's hanging. But it's like when pigs fly. It's very odd. It's like the page, it's like they're here, but they're not really here. They're getting pulled in another direction. That's what I'm getting, is he's kind of like his mind going elsewhere. He's like here, but he's not really here. He's making an offer. Pages are um, very immature childlike behavior. They're not a king, right? And so they rush in, they might look good, they might do all these things. And then, what ends up happening? Ten of Swords. Boom. The stab in the back, the pain, and it's almost like an addiction. There could be some addictions here as well, some substance addictions. We'll dive into that in the extended. But what we're being called to do now is in this cycle, right? You don't want to keep having tower moments, right? So we're going to look into that in the extended. What we've got after Ten of Swords, it's time to move on from this bullshit. Excuse my language, but death, rebirth. Look how beautiful this is. And there's the infinity symbol there. A death of this cycle brings this. Okay? So if this is resonating, like I said, and it brings this, King of Pentacles. Solid, stable partner. Right? None of this crap where they're half in, half out, blowing whichever way the wind goes, right? There. So we're going to talk about these, this pattern of, we're going to look into some of the wounds that need to be healed, some of the shadows, and some of that. We're just going to talk about this pattern and what we need to heal within ourselves, okay? So I hope you guys join me over on Vimeo. Either way, I wish you a beautiful month, and I encourage you to check out the other videos as well to see if those resonate. Take care.